Today marks our director, Michael Keating's last day. After 7 years as director, Michael has taken the decision to step down, and I'm here to ask him why now, to talk about his time at the centre and what he plans to do next. So, hi, Michael. You've been director of the centre since it was created in 2013. So why are you stepping down now, especially amongst all the constitutional change we're seeing at the moment?
Well, I've been a full-time academic for about 45 years now. I'm well past the old retirement age. So there comes a time when you want to do other things and create time to do other things. But don't worry, I'm not going away. There's too much going on at the moment. So I shall still take an active interest in this and continue to be part of the centre.
Since you're not leaving the team, can you tell us how you'll be continued to be involved?
I'll contribute. I've still got a couple of book projects. I'm doing some writing. We've got an active program of online events now. In fact, we've got more events than we've ever had because it's so easy to do them online and you get huge audiences. And I really look forward to getting out again because one of the greatest things, one of the most enjoyable things I've done over the last few years is getting out and about around Scotland and beyond, talking to people about these constitutional issues. And since the constitutional issue is not going to go away, Brexit is not going to go away, the independence issue is not going to go away, there'll be plenty of opportunities to get stuck into these debates and to try and bring some dispassionate analysis to these very complicated questions.
Can you tell us about how the idea of the centre came about? What was your ambition for the centre?
Yes, well, I've been following Scottish politics since I started my PhD, which was in the early 1970s, when Scottish politics was very much a backwater. And I always keep on coming back to it. I go away and I'll do comparative European politics. I'll work in France, Spain, Italy. I worked in the United States and Canada. But I kept on coming back to Scotland because this small country really captures in a microcosm many of the big issues about modern day politics, about globalization, about the changing economy, about the welfare state, big issues about sovereignty and self-government. And I never thought we'd get to the position where we'd have a referendum on independence, but eventually that happened. And I suppose in retrospect, that was almost inevitable because Scotland has been developing as a political community enormously since I started looking at it all those years ago. So it was too big an opportunity to miss the independence referendum when the agreement was signed in 2012. And then we were fortunate that the Economic and Social Research Council started a big program on this. We managed to win that big project. So it's an opportunity to follow this and not only to do some really interesting academic research about those big questions about democracy and sovereignty and what does independence mean in a global world and where are we going in the future, but also to do some other things that we've developed within the centre. One was to engage with people who make policy. I'm talking about civil servants, ministers, political advisors, getting into the policy process. It's something that's always interested me and which I've always done to some degree, but this really opened up those opportunities. So during the independence referendum, we were working with both governments, working with both sides, trying to apply some analysis to their proposals, exchanging ideas with them. The similar thing happened during the Brexit referendum, because of course that came hot on the heels of the Scottish independence referendum. And that idea that academics and practitioners can talk to each other is an old idea, but it's extremely difficult to do. And I think over the years, we've developed a common language, we developed a common way of thinking. We have different perspectives, of course, and I think it enriches us to be able to talk to policymakers, and I think it helps them to clarify their ideas. So this has an impact well beyond our project and well beyond Scotland. And the other thing that we were able to do is engage the public in a big way. And again, we're always being told as academics, get out of your ivory tower, talk to the people, try and inform the public. And we are very committed to the idea of making social science relevant to the electors, to the citizens. This is something that we really have a duty and an obligation to do. It's not easy because we tend to think in rather rarefied concepts. We use a lot of jargon, but the electors really want to know what the issues are, they want some analysis, some understanding of that. So again, we did a lot of that in both referendums. We had meetings the length and breadth of Scotland in the Scottish referendum. I did a lot of meetings in Europe and across North America as well, trying to bring these issues to the public and inform the citizens. And the third thing we did was to work with the media. Again, it's not easy because the media these days look for sound bites. They want to simplify things, but it's very important to be able to explain in layperson's terms what these things mean and communicate those to the media. So we were really very successful in doing that with the Scottish media, the UK media, and once again, the international media, because the Scottish referendum attracted a huge amount of international support. You could walk through Edinburgh and you'd see television crews from every country you'd ever heard of wanting to know what was happening in Scotland, because it was such an exciting event, such an important event, not just for Scotland, for the whole world. So we think that in the years we've been working at that, we've not just done a research project, we've added something to show what social scientists and what academics can do to help people understand real world problems.
So what has been your most memorable moment as director?
Oh, I have a number of memorable moments, turning up to meetings where they were crowded. There was one meeting just outside Glasgow where they put 20 seats out, another 20 and another 20, until eventually we got 200 people. That was a great one. There's other meetings where there were hardly anybody at all, but I think the one that I would dine out on is during the Scottish referendum. We were doing some interview, myself and my colleague Elisenda Casamas Adam, who is Catalan and Scottish. We're doing an interview on Spanish television, and they had this very rickety structure for the media centre that was only half built. And so Elisenda and I had gone up to do the Spanish interview, and the lights went out and everything collapsed. Elisenda was about 8 months pregnant at this point. So she and I had to climb down the scaffolding and find our way to the studio. But eventually we managed to do it. So that's dedication for you.
Definitely.
Many incidents where we've really been gratified by the interest people have taken in these issues and the level of public engagement at a time when people are disillusioned with politics, the level of engagement and the desire of citizens to know something more about this and for us to be able not to tell them answers, but to help them work their way with us through these complicated issues. That was always very gratifying. It was really a pleasure to do that.
And you've maybe touched on this already, but what difference do you think the Centre and similar initiatives have made to how we study, understand and engage with the politics of constitutional change?
Well, we hope that we've made some advances in the level of social science theory, thinking about issues of sovereignty and self-governance. We were able to match the constitutional debate, which can become a bit abstract and arid, to real issues about jobs and about economic growth and about social welfare, because that's what it really is about. It's about the well-being of citizens. We were able to do that. But I think the long-term legacy will really be to show how social science can help people understand the predicaments in which they live. There are no easy answers. We don't have any answers to the constitutional question, and we don't want to. But we've engaged in a debate, and I think in a way which I think is very constructive, and we're very pleased that after our meetings, people consistently said, yes, it was helpful. Not because we were telling them what to think, because in our meetings, we always had somebody from civil society, we had business people, trade unionists, social activists and so on the platform. The way that we're able to insert ourselves in this debate and not lecture at people, I think shows what good social science can do. And
how have the last 7 years compared with those before for your career and for social science and kind of the politics of constitutional change?
I think it's been an advance. I could have retired a few years ago, but I didn't, and I'm really glad, because very few people get the opportunity to do something like this. And all of us who have been involved in the centre of the project, from old timers like myself to the young postdoctoral fellows who are taking their first job working on this project, have really found that this is a very exciting prospect, because it enables us to look at new issues, it enables us to bring new perspectives on old questions, and because we're at the centre of debate here, and Scotland for a time was the centre of global attention. I should say this is carrying on. Those gains are for good. We won't go back to the way we were in the past. We may have another independence referendum. We'll have the same excitement again. We will engage again. And of course, the Brexit process is still ongoing. So we're still doing this. We're still talking regularly to parliamentary committees. We're talking to the media. And we've learnt how to do this. I wouldn't say we know exactly how to reach all sections of the population. We haven't. There are sections of the population who are still outside the debate there. People who feel marginalized by politics. So we've not done enough to engage all the communities. But I think we have shown that it is possible to engage people in debate, and that people will take an interest in politics if they show that they're going to get something out of it, if they're shown that these issues are things that can be subjected to reasonable debate and reasonable analysis, which the way that politics is being going these days, of course, doesn't always happen.
So you've mentioned your long career, Michael. You've worked with many academics at different stages of their careers. If you give one piece of advice to early career researchers, what would it be?
Don't follow the fashion. Don't do something because you think that's what you're supposed to do. I started all those years ago doing a thesis on Scottish politics. Nobody would have advised me to do that. They would have said, it's a backwater. But it turned out to be an opening, not just to do Scottish politics, but to study of nationalism, of independence movements, of all kinds of things that come out of that. So don't follow the orthodoxies, have your own ideas, and don't be afraid to think of new approaches to old problems. There's still plenty to be done there. We've only scratched the surface trying to understand the complex worlds. So carve out your little bit of it and don't be afraid to have your own ideas.
A great piece of advice. So thank you, Michael, for speaking to me today. We're sad to see you step down as director, but glad that you'll still be with us and involved in our research. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well, I hope we'll get back to the centre physically before long.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you.